So look at a super, I don't know, it's one of my favorite attacks. I don't see a lot of people doing it as much as it's available to them, but it's still a super strong way to attack the far side arm from side control. So normally side control, I have this side under his head, this side over here. I'm gonna walk around basically towards north-south, okay? So before I do that, this is the one big downside of this move is that I switch my arms, and that's usually a telltale sign that this is coming. So people know what I'm about to do or whatever and are comfortable here. And this transition is where a lot of times, you know, you might start to lose it. But from here, this hand is blocking the hip. So as I walk around towards north-south, I get off my knees and start coming this way. He can't follow me around, right? And that's how I get the angle on him. Now, this arm here, as I bring this here, I'm gonna sweep my thumb up and under his tricep right here. So I start to already get a little bit of space in between his elbow and his ribs. It starts with the thumb, and then eventually I'm gonna go to wrist and then forearm, right? But here, I bring this right against his body and I put my thumb between his arm and his ribs. And then I start to walk around here, keeping heavy on his chest, getting off my knees, right? Once I get around this side, I'm gonna go a little bit past his head. So my head is gonna come to towards this hip over here. So from this side to this side. Now I can punch this arm up his ribs. And now I got wrist deep instead of just thumb deep, right? And then now from here, I'm gonna get off my knees. I'm gonna drive this shoulder towards this hip. And as I do, this hand is gonna make a fist and curl palm up. And that's gonna take me from the wrist to forearm deep, right? So here, I drive forearm deep and I drive my shoulder or my ear towards this hip, and it puts a lot of pressure on his ribs and diaphragm, makes it hard for him to breathe.
That is correct.
Yeah, right. So, but the whole walking around, the whole sequence with the arm is about getting from the thumb to the wrist to the forearm and getting my arm from here to under his armpit, right? So if I do it on this side, right? I switch my arms, I put my thumb under, I post here. I start to walk around. As I walk around, my hand climbs up towards his ribs. As I go from shoulder to hip and I drive, I'm curling my hand in and making a fist and driving this way and putting a lot of pressure on his ribs right here, okay? So that's the first part of the drill. Just get comfortable with that. Sometimes as you're doing this, right, the guy, right, as I come around here, the guy manages to slip his elbow back to the floor. No, towards the floor.
Which one? This elbow?
Yeah, so he wants to bring this elbow down towards the floor. That means he's usually gonna lift this side, right? So if I'm here and he drives that elbow down to the floor, I switch sides, right? Which is the nice thing about this drill is that I have attacks on both sides from north-south because it's symmetrical. So as I'm coming around here, I walk around. As I'm trying to drive this in, he manages to bump, turn, and then I can easily switch and then drive my arm under the other side. But if he doesn't do that, I stay with this side and I just smash on this side. If he bridges and bumps and tries to get to the other side, I can smash and try to get to the other arm. That make sense? So, and the beauty of it is just very tight pressure on him. And as I walk my feet away, that's one of the most annoying things is as I try to do attack, the guy puts me back in guard. Being in this north-south configuration makes it real hard for him to re-guard, right? And so I can kind of stay pressured on him and I can buy a little time before the guys put me back in guard, right? So again, start with the thumb under the arm, then go hand climbing up the belly and then drive across here and then really smash right there, okay? Let's just do that and then we'll talk about finishing a Kimura or arm bar or some shit from there. Cool? 3 claps, 1, 2, 3.